coffee. Nectar of the gods, I swear. Excuse me. So, my allergies are going crazy. I'm not crying, it's just my allergies. I think it's ragweed season or whatever. And it's raining outside. All that wonderful stuff. I'm just going to try to tilt this. No, not quite. Just trying to adjust. See, that pushes it too much. So, it is Tuesday morning. Oh, excuse me. I didn't get much sleep last night. I think because hubby didn't sleep well. I don't know why. But it is what it is. So, today my plan is to clean the kitchen and get something for supper. I still haven't finished making my menu plan for the week. I think it's just going to be something, one of the freezer meals in my freezer, because it will, it's going to be a busy evening because I go with my hubby to an eye appointment this afternoon, so might not get back till 4:30 or so, and won't have time to really do a lot of prep. So I'm thinking I'm going to try and see what I have in the freezer already pre-made that I can defrost and like throw in the Instant Pot. That's why freezer meals are great for days where you're unsure about the time. Heck, I could usually throw in the Instant Pot from frozen as well, but I tend not to always freeze things in the package that fits the round container. So that's why I like to defrost it, so I can throw it in, out, maybe not even fully defrosted, and make sure that there's at least a cup of liquid for it to cook. So we have a few of those. I have to go and think. That is my plan for September, is to really organize my freezers and stuff, and to inventory. I did it at the beginning of summer. I inventoried, but I didn't keep it up. And honestly, I have no idea what's in there. Um, and I'm a very visual person, so I'm gonna have to re-inventory. I think it's one of those things that it's just you gotta do, and it's kind of like, I don't know. For myself personally, it's really hard to, like, my body my fights the structure. It um it doesn't like, it likes making lists but doesn't like using lists. Um it doesn't like being told what to do. Like, I would never do well in the military, or with major authority. But when I was working, I did enjoy knowing what my expectations were. But I liked being in control of when and how I did those things. So that is the weirdness. of me. Um, so hopefully people pop in. It's my normalish time of the day. I could share some more frugal tips too to help anybody saving money. Um, One thing that saves us money is having a full freezer of food. I make freezer meals, so there's ready meals to be used versus having to order pizza. Um, as long as we have power, it's not an issue. um, but you have to actually use it, not just have it there. I have a lot of frozen veggies in the freezer so that in the wintertime, or when veggies are more expensive, I still have great nutrition. Um, Another thing to save money is to not necessarily buy brand name stuff. Like, it's very rare that I buy Advil name or Tylenol unless I have coupons specifically for them. What I usually do is buy the ibuprofen or the um, aspartame of, as it's usually cheaper, especially from Costco or from Walmart or from the grocery store, the store name brand. Even the dollar store usually has 24 tablets for a buck or two, and they're exactly the same. So you save money that way. You don't need to have, um, hi Jacob, you don't have to buy the brand name. Now, certain things we do like brand names, like we like Hellman's mayonnaise, and we like Kraft peanut butter. So we will buy those, but we'll buy them on sale. Good morning. Yeah, not too bad. Well, it's Monday. Mondays are always rough. Getting everybody off to school, and um, off to school and work, and I went to my on my way to my doctor's appointment yesterday, and found out it was canceled after I was already gone from the home for about an hour on the bus. So then I had to literally get off the bus, cross the street, take the bus back, and come home. So it was a complete waste of a morning. Very cool. What are you taking in college there, Jacob? Yeah, I will check out your video, your most recent video after my live stream. What are you taking in college? What are you taking in college? Good morning, Amanda. For the first little bit of the video, I was by myself, so I was chatting about some frugal tips. Take attorney. What's attorney? Taking a learning center course, they help you to get a job. Okay, very cool. So you'll learn how to do like your resume and interviews and some job skills. That sounds cool. Uh, My eyes are watering. I have some allergies. I think it's ragweed season. Because the past few days we had the window open as we turned off the AC because it got cool. Yesterday, hubby wanted me to turn on the AC again because his allergies were acting up. So we turned it on a bit. Teacher kitchen safety? Ah, yes. So life skills and stuff like that. Very cool. Probably learn how to like do up a budget and how to grocery shop and everything like that. How to make a budget, for your imaginary budget of this is for your rent and this is for your food and this is for your bills and how to do that. Because otherwise, if you don't have a budget, believe me, from college, you have money, you spend it. Very cool. Those are very good skills to have. So, Amanda, what are you doing today? Are you teleworking? Getting ready for work? Yeah, Jacob, we'll see. Yeah, Jacob, I don't know if it's really smart of you to post your actual address online. It's not very good internet safety because people could try and steal your identity or that. That's why a lot of YouTubers tend to have a P.O. box um, without an actual address. I'm just, I'm just wondering if it's safe. It's your P.O. box account, but you're giving an address. There's P.O. box 85, um, Tacoma Drive. Is that a P.O. box, or is that actually also your address? Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I was trying to reconnect. Sorry. I don't know why. Yes. So I was talking. When I was by myself, I was talking to myself, talking about I haven't done my menu plan yet this week. I've fallen off the wagon of that, so I'm going to be doing that probably today before I go to the doctor's appointment with Jeff this afternoon. I will have that up. Um, I yesterday I made garlic shrimp and rice and chicken drumsticks for Rowan. Well, everybody had a piece, but Rowan had just chicken drumsticks, which I just put a bit of the Old Bay seasoning on it and lemon juice. That was it. And roast, like put them in the oven in a casserole dish. And we had salad of bocchini, cheese, and tomato, baby tomatoes, and basil, balsamic vinegar, um, salt, pepper. It was very yummy, very filling. I'm thinking today I'm gonna, after my live stream, I'm gonna go to my freezer and find one of the freezer meals that we have and take it out for supper tonight because the appointment's at 2:30. Um, the appointment said it could take up to 2 hours um, for the appointment. So that's 4:30, and we wouldn't get home till like 5:30, depending on the buses, because that's rush hour. So if I take something out of the freezer, it'll defrost, and I can throw it in the Instant Pot, and it'll be ready within half an hour of when we get home. Of either something that's already cooked or something that's already prepped to be cooked. Because we do have some leftover. We still have leftover. I made on red Thai coconut chicken soup, and we have leftover of that as well as noodles. Abby had that for lunch yesterday and for breakfast this morning, and we still have some leftover, but not like that'd be enough soup for like an appetizer to a meal if we wanted it. Everybody liked that except for Rowan, but she's not a big soup person. She ate she ate it, but she didn't. She's not a big fan of that. I made for the girls' lunches today. I made Abby California rolls, so just the fake crab meat, the calla rose rice, and the nori sheet. I made Rowan pineapple sushi. So there were strips of fresh pineapple and the rice and the nori sheet. We had that when we were on vacation. That was the fruit sushi. Actually, it was pineapple and honeydew, but she doesn't like honeydew, so she always popped out the honeydew. So I just made pineapple sushi. I've been recording for their lunches video at some point. It is so. Yesterday it rained. It's been raining since yesterday around 2. No, before that, maybe 1, on and off. And today Google says it's not raining, but it's that fine mist. Um, and it's gray. It's cloudy, and it's cool. But I think tomorrow or Thursday it's going to go back up to the high 20s. So it's like it feels like spring. So in the wintertime, the fall, winter, and spring, beginning of spring, I can usually get away with doing one soup a week. I love fall because it's cool. It's nice enough that you can wear a t-shirt or maybe a long sleeve shirt, maybe. But in the evening, it's nice and cool. The colors are pretty. Fall is the time of harvest, so everything is like harvestable. Like I've been getting lots of cherry tomatoes. I got 3 huge. Oh, I'll show you the stuff I got from my garden. I'll show you what I got. I picked from my garden on Sunday. We haven't used it yet, but This is the first time that my cucumber plant actually been successful. So, huge cucumbers. This is cucumber number 2 from the garden. Oh, that's basil. Cucumber number 3. And then I've got basil and basil and cherry tomatoes. And I picked, well, an onion. So these I have to clean up because they're all covered in dirt, but we'll have more. The cherry tomatoes, so a lot of them were ripe when I was away, so a friend of mine who was taking care of my box, I said, take some tomatoes if they're ripe and they're not going to last. So she did that, and she had lots. So, unfortunately, so the pickles, I still have pickles from last year. So I'm not going to make pickles this year, because we still have lots of the kosher pickles. Hey, Angie. But I've made corn relish with some of the corn from the corn roast on Friday that we got given at the end because there were still lots. I picked up my grocery haul last week, which I haven't edited the video. I have 2 half bushels of tomatoes and a half bushel of peppers, which the peppers I've been using this week for food and recipes. Well, yeah, a little, but that's fine. A stalker one day is your best friend the next day. A stalker is just an unwanted person that follows you, but we want you following us. We like you. It's true. I'm gonna get some more coffee because I love coffee. And I'm sorry, today is definitely, I call it like I see. Today is definitely a half pot of a coffee day. Did not sleep well last night. Hubby didn't sleep well. And I think I didn't sleep well because he didn't sleep well. Oh, that light, look, it's like strobing. It's gonna die soon. Let's get some coffee. Oh yes, every single cupboard in my kitchen is open. Told at least I'm not a cheap. No, you're not a creepy kind of stalker. No, we get a few of those. Those are trolls. We don't like trolls. Oh, chicka. Boom, chicka, wow, wow. Yes. See, I even have, I have every single cupboard almost open. Well, and on this side, every single cupboard door open. Oh, that one's closed. Yeah, Jeff was supposed to be doing teleworking today. Because he has an appointment this afternoon. But he even called in sick today because he's like, I can't, I wanted to sleep. He was not getting up. So finished my cream, this one. This was the cream that was left over from when we were on vacation before. Coffee. Oh yeah, while I'm here, I should look in the freezer and get something out. Since I was talking about taking something out of... Well, no, that was the cream. There was one cream that was left over when we went on vacation that I hadn't opened. And it's due like September 22nd, so I said, okay, it should probably still be fine when we got back, and that was it. So I still have 3 creams from groceries. Ah, my freezer's full. Hey, Oreo kid. I'm gonna show you my fridge freezer is full. Now I'm just gonna see where I need to find something that's a freezer meal in here. There we go. That's what we're gonna pick up. Oh, that's the Hungarian goulash. I just dropped stuff out. See, I threw in grapes. When we went on vacation, I threw like everything in the freezer. So grapes, we put whatever leftover fruits in bags for like smoothies. So, so yeah, this is the goulash soup, which is like the beef Hungarian goulash. So we'll have that and some pasta. That's a great meal to have today since we won't. So if the appointment's at 2:30, it ends at like maybe 3:34 at least. We won't get home till like 5. That I can easily throw in the Instant Pot, cook under the stew section, so 30 minutes pressure, and it'll be ready. Serve it with some egg noodles, which we have. Okay, knocking shit over. So put me down here for a second. Because I can't do... I'm bringing you in for coffee. Good morning, BJ Hunton. Hey, Brad. Well, yes, that's what I figured. That's my ceiling. Sorry, I apologize. I'm not... Okay, my phone, I think, is drunk. It's not listening to me. No, I have 2 girls. See? That's when they were younger. Just 2 girls. No boys. I know, I swear my phone is being a pain in the ass. Oh, my eyes are being a pain in the butt too. Sure, you can ask me a question. What time, Oreo? What time is your show? Do you have actually a scheduled time? See, I kind of just pop in when I have free time, which is probably not that great. I should figure out a schedule and have a different time so that, because there's some people that can't see me in the morning, but they could see me in the afternoon, of something more scheduled. But then I should also have a plan for the live stream versus just chatting with who's ever here and drinking coffee. Well, that's good too. I like your red. Just get on and talk to myself. Well, yes. Well, see, that's. I think this is the thing, is that schedule just bothers me. I was saying earlier um, that I would not do well like in the military or anything because being told what to do is not my forte. I like writing lists sometimes, but and I like checking things off lists, but I don't like looking at lists. I don't like being told what to do, which is always wonderful. My son calls me by my name if I tell him he is wrong about anything. Is that no. Not in my family. My kids never call me by my name, my birth name. They don't call Jeff by his birth name. They don't call my My husband doesn't even call his parents by their birth name since we've had kids. Um, he calls them Nana and Bobo. They have birth names. Now, if he was an adult, I don't think so. I keep on telling because I'm Mama. I'm not Mama. I'll take Mom, but I'm always Mama. M-A-M-A. That's what the one I want. If I actually had to be on time to work. I find it a little bit okay. It depends on your family situation, okay, and what's acceptable. Like what's acceptable in my family might not be acceptable in your family. What's acceptable? I just this is not at the right height. I don't know why. What's acceptable in other people's family might not work for your family. I'm gonna try and tilt this up a little bit. Look up. He's done this before. Look up. I think this is a bit better. He could be going through a phase. So I have friends who used to call their parents by their birth names, and I thought it was weird as a kid because I'm like, I never called my mom or dad their birth name. Even to the day that they died, I called them mom and dad. That's all I did. I knew what their birth name was, and I identified them to other people by their birth name, but birth name. But that's what also grandparents by their first names, but they've done that their whole lives. My dad is in the hospital, and my son is telling all on YouTube that he is fine, but it is bad. Well, he might be in denial. If your dad is actually really sick, he might be in denial of how things are. And also, a lot of times people on like to have the persona of everything's fine at home. That are dirty laundry, and there are people that try to share parts of their lives with people in YouTube land, and there's ones that have a persona on YouTube that they like to keep intact, and they don't share anything personal. So he might be doing something like that. Awesome, Oreo Kid. I love your channel. It's very nice and fun. That is tough. It is his choice. Like, I mean, how old is your kid? So, here's a few things that one could like think about. How you deal with your dad and his illness, and how he deals with your dad and his illness. They're from two different people, two different ways of dealing with stuff. He might be in denial. He might, depending on what he's sick with, is it because he doesn't want to remember him like he is now? He wants to remember him how he was. Um, he might not want to, doesn't know what to say. No, he is. Okay, so he's a grown ass adult. Okay. Um, he it depends. Um, and also depends on the person too. Like there are some people who just don't like hospitals. If he's in the hospital, or if he's really sick, did they have a falling out, or they were just never really close? So that's the thing. If they're not really close, at a falling out, like say for some, maybe you don't know, maybe your father at some point said something to your son, like maybe whatever career he was going into, oh, that's a stupid career, and he took offense to that. You know, that those type of things sometimes are being said nonchalantly and not offensively, but they can be taken. Yes, and okay, so with dementia, there's also that too. So if he has dementia, your son probably does not necessarily want to go. And um, for example, depending on how bad the dementia is, I know people. I I don't know what it is lately, but I have about four people that I know that their parents, like they're my age, and their parents have had dementia, and it's really, really hard to go in yourself, go in and visit, and they don't realize who you are, or they think you're somebody else. And some people do not have the inner strength to do that and come out and not be a complete basket case. And then even if they are a complete basket case, do that again. Like, I was lucky in the sense that my parents did not have dementia. My dad had a little bit of, I think he was starting to get a bit of it because of, I think it was just also the meds that he was on, because there was something he forgot, but not necessarily people, but he forgot instances, or he forgot he said stuff, and that there was the beginnings of it, that if 20 years down the road he might have had dementia. From friends that have had to deal with their parents with dementia, and seeing their the person that was their parent, and how they go downhill so fast that it's hard to remember the person they were, and they just seeing the person who they are now, which is not really them. My son, I do not want to see him anymore. That is how bad he got. Wow. That you don't want to see your son anymore, or your dad. Yeah, and your son might be just also a very private person, and him saying to people, say if he's on YouTube and has a channel or whatever, him saying, "Oh, my grandfather, he's fine." Well, he's fine to him or whatever. If he doesn't have to deal with him, then he doesn't have to. He doesn't want other people nosing into his business. You know? Oh, that you don't want to deal with your son. I think you have to separate the two. I think you have to separate the two of how you, like, you can't force your son to go visit your dad. If he doesn't want to go, I would just leave it and not push it any further. That's for him to deal with. And when your dad is gone, he's going to have to deal with his decisions. He's a grown ass man, that is fully well to make his decisions. Your relationship with your son might be strained because you might be trying to force him to visit your dad. He will probably regret not visiting him if he doesn't before he passes. He might not. He might have made his peace with it and doesn't want to remember your dad the way he is right now, and wants to remember him how he was. Um, he, but that's for him to deal with. That's going to be his own personal demons of things that he regrets himself. You have done everything in your power as a parent to give him the opportunity to make peace with your father before he passes, because that's everybody's going to die. So forcing the issue will put a strain on your and your son's relationship, and that relationship will last much longer than your father will be on this earth. So I would just leave it. I would maybe mention it, especially if it's birthdays or Christmas or whatever, that, hey, I'm going to go visit, would you like to come? If he says no, just leave it. And then just try and work on your relationship with your son and maybe talk to him without pushing too much, and maybe finding out what he why he doesn't want to go visit, because it could be something completely different. Maybe he doesn't like hospitals. Maybe he's scared of hospitals. Like for the longest time, I didn't like to go visit people in hospitals. I hated the hospitals. Because and when my mom was sick and stuff, going to the hospital, I had to go to the hospital. I hated hospitals, and I hate graveyards. So I've been to the graveyard for when they got buried, and that's it. I don't go back because they're not there. From my perspective, they are not there. They are in heaven. All that's there is stuff left to the earth. So I don't go back to visit just because I don't. That's my personal. I know people who go regularly to the grave sites of people of their loved ones. I don't. And a child who is about your son's age. I've dealt with grandparents and my own parents being sick. I mean, he doesn't like your dad, but it's tough. Well, exactly. So people have inner strengths. Okay, some people are very strong and can do things like that. Is why people go into healthcare fields, go as paramedics, go as firefighters, because they can deal with they ones that stay in that field for a while can deal with the daily trauma that they have to deal with, and the inner strength of keep on going on and to categorize things in different things. He might not have the inner strength to go in and visit your father and see him how he is right now and see how different he is from the grandfather that he remembers. For example, when my grandfather was sick, so all of a sudden, so he, unbeknownst to us, he had stomach cancer. So he went from looking and dressing like Santa. Okay, so think of Santa at the mall. He had real white hair and beard. He played Santa at the mall for like 50 years. Okay, since he was 20. Okay, for like 50 years at the mall. He went from being, a little bit chunky, not quite overweight, but like, to losing like 50 pounds. And we're like, what's going on? And stuff. And he didn't tell his wife or anybody else that he had cancer until one time he's been sick at home, and they called an ambulance and stuff, and he went to the hospital, and they're like, well, his doctor showed what was there and said, well, you do know he has cancer and he has like about a month to live. Hey, Joaquin, William, how's it going? And my grandmother was shocked. She had no clue. He didn't tell her. He hid it from her. He hid it from the rest of us. So the doctor said that he had like a couple months to live. He lived for 2 weeks, and he went home and like went from losing 50 pounds to losing like another 50 pounds. Like he was under 100 pounds when he died, and he was, because he had stomach cancer, he was very jaundiced and he was very skinny and skin and bones. He was not a man, and of the meds that he was on to deal with the pain, he just like went from in 2 weeks, like, so that was really hard on me. Like I was a teenager at the time. That was hard on me, on my parents, my mom, and her brother and sister and the kids and their kids, and my grandmother. But it needed to be done. But but for example, my mom and I, we went and visited often, while her brother didn't as often. He helped financially. He did what he could financially and helped that way and made sure that there was nurses and everything like that there and handled the finances and stuff like that and came to visit, but was very short visits. Well, we spent like a whole meal and he would come in for like an hour and that's all he could do. So, um, seeing that really puts a lot of things in perspective. But he was, if he had to spend all that time in the hospital, I don't know if I could have visited as much. He came home, kind of did like what's it called, end of life stuff at home. Uh, what's the word called? Not starts with an H. Holistic? No. Hey Google, what is end of life services?
On the website longtermcarelink.net, they say hospice is a form of palliative care
Hospice.
for patients who are terminally ill.
Hey Google,
A common
stop. Hospice. I knew it started with an H. Brain not working. So, but at that time there was.
Hospice Care Ottawa, Ruddy Shinkman Hospice is
Hey
on
Google,
110 McCurdy Drive.
stop. Um. So yeah. So at that time there was not really the term like this is 89, 88. Sorry, this is 88. Um, there was not really terms of hospice as it is now. There was not, like, but it was what it was. So I would try and keep the communication going with your son. I would find out what he is doing or what he's feeling to be to try and understand what he's feeling and how his relationship with his grandfather is. And if he's made peace with his grandfather passing and having dementia and not being the same person that he's always loved, he has to make that peace. Hopefully he can make that peace and say his goodbyes while he's still alive. It's easier because doing it after, like, it was easier for myself with my mother when she was dying to say my goodbyes because she was still around. With my dad, he already died, and I hadn't said my goodbyes, so I had to do that after the fact. Because I know your dad's still alive, but if he's getting worse and stuff, if you've if you can make your peace at any point in time of like of sharing with them that you love them and stuff, whether they reciprocate or not, of sharing your feelings, sharing any good, bad, or otherwise, so that you don't have to carry on those feelings after they've passed. While he's still alive, you could still possibly have a communication, or at least say it to him physically, whether he's knows what you're saying or not. You know, depending on how bad the dementia is, sometimes some conversations they can't even hold, whether they know who you are or not. But it's more for the person staying, because I mean he's eventually going to pass if he's sick as well. Like there's only like an eventuality. Like everybody's going to die. You know, the only thing that's guaranteed in life is death and taxes. You know, you have to pay taxes and you will eventually die. It's one of those things like, um, the job market will always need doctors and always need people for funerals because you will either live for a while or you will die. And then you come into the world and you have to go back out. You know, all the rest of the jobs throughout time change depending on technology, depending on the world. But there will always be people helping you come into this world and helping you leave the world. It's kind of a bit morbid, but it is true. But and making sure that you yourself, Brad, um, have peace with your dad. Um, whether he's here on this earth for 6 months or another 6 years, while if he is still lucid and knows who you are and stuff, sharing with him your feelings about him might help him, but also will really help you. Saying those things while he's still lucid is better than when he's not, but even just share, so that when he does die eventually, whenever that happens, you won't have a whole bunch of stuff left inside that you wish you had said. Because that's the thing. Because the stuff that you haven't, all the things that you haven't said, good, bad, or otherwise, that you wish you had said, is what will cause you yourself hurt over time. The longer that you keep those things unsaid, whether they are here on this earth or not. So that's like, for example, my dad's gone. So every once in a while, there's stuff that I wish I had said, or I wanted to say. So now I just say it to the universe, and it'll eventually get to him. Maybe, who knows? I don't know. You know, but holding it on myself causes internal pain for me, which causes the more stuff you hold negative inside you. Actually, physically, it does cause physical illness too, like stress and anger and bitterness and stuff does like put stress on your organs, on everything. That these fit on these not non-tangible things can cause literal tangible physical problems, like ulcers. Ulcers ulcers are caused by stress. Stress is not visible, it is not tangible. You can't put your finger on it, you can't stop it. The only way to deal with stress is to figure out how to deal with stress, to relieve the stress. So things like, and I don't know how to do that. I wish I knew how to meditate and all that stuff. I've tried. I'm not very good at it. I can't do it. Like, I can pretend, but it does absolutely nothing for me. I don't know. But you just have to make your peace. So when the eventuality does happen, you've done and said everything that you could. And then be there for your son who might not have said or done everything that he should have. Because at some point, whether he sees him now or doesn't, he will have some feelings about what he's done or what he didn't. Okay. Yeah, we don't really do political stuff in my live streams. You can have tea or anything. You can have just water too. See, that's my cup from Porta Plata, the cable car, and the Jesus on the mountain in Porta Plata. It's a huge, huge, huge Jesus there. Okay. So good morning, Tom Tom. Glad you are here. What time is it for you right now? Supper time? Not supper time. Lunchtime? 2 o'clock? I don't know. I suck at time. I suck at time zones. 3 p.m. Because I'm like lunchtime, 2 o'clock, 3. Excuse me. So it's snack time. It's between lunch and supper. Or I call it sometimes when you go shopping at the mall or stores between 1:30 and 4. I call it like the witching hour. So with all those mums with little ones that haven't had their nap or needing a nap and they're fighting having a nap, they're always like crying and whining. Also with the kids getting off school and they've been good all day at school and then they're having meltdowns as soon as they're home. I call it like the witching hour of everything goes wrong. Yeah, I'm 6 hours ahead. Brunch. Well, yeah, breakfast, lunch is brunch, and then because we tend to eat like 2 meals a day, we have brunch, and then we have lupper. When we were on vacation, we had 2 meals a day, with snacks. I usually had 3 meals because I was up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and by about 7:30 I needed something, and yeah, I had my family for breakfast. I think twice the whole time there, and sometimes I had second breakfast. So this, I had breakfast. So I learned, like the first couple of days, I had like breakfast, a big breakfast first thing. But then after a while, you get tired of eggs and bacon and sausages. So I'd go for like the oatmeal, which was actually really good. Like it was like oatmeal with cinnamon in a pot. Like it was real. Like I'm like, this is actually really good. Like it doesn't taste like crap. And actually, they cooked it with whole cinnamon sticks in it in like a big huge like, well, they kept it hot in like a cauldron crock pot type thing. Um, but it was really good. So some near the end of the second week of vacation, I was having two breakfasts because I would have first breakfast. I would usually have maybe some fruit and maybe oatmeal at like 7 o'clock. But then hubby would want to have breakfast sometimes, and he'd like to have like eggs or something like that. But he wasn't having breakfast till like 10:30. You know, I think 10 was the early. 9:40 was the earliest. I got him out a couple times. So then, but he doesn't like to want to eat by himself. So then he would go and sit down, and then I would order eggs. So sometimes I had two breakfasts, and then no lunch. Then we wouldn't have lunch. We just have like the snacky stuff. Like so, there was always meat, cheese, fruit, um, bread. There was lots where we were in the Sunscape, the Sun Club area. There was smoked salmon. So Abby had lots of smoked salmon for breakfast. And you think I'm joking? I'm not. She wouldn't necessarily come out for breakfast. Rowan would grab her a plate with smoked salmon, prosciutto, and provolone cheese and mango. Breakfast of champions. Go see my dad. Oh, well, you have a wonderful time with your dad and enjoy every moment that you have with him. And hopefully, when you visit him, there'll be a few light bulb moments of happiness. Because sometimes, because dealing with dementia is rough, and it will either break you or make you stronger. And it also puts a lot of things in perspective in your life, too. So hopefully, it's a good visit for you and for your father. Bring him some cookies or something like that. Every single dimension person that I've ever met, and my friends, if they bring them candies and cookies, things like that they enjoyed in their childhood, they absolutely are ecstatic because they don't get that kind of stuff there either. Yes, say love from Jen and Kanata. Maybe he knows me, or he'll think of somebody else. That's fine. Mwah. Big hugs to you. Yeah, I honestly think that like dementia wards and actually seniors homes, they should just have like cookies and candy like all the time around because well, they don't need to necessarily lose weight, right? And they should enjoy the things that they enjoy. So Tom, what did you have for lunch today? It's 3:30 for you. Why haven't you had lunch? Or dinner, if you call lunch dinner. Because I think you call supper tea time, right? Or some people do. Oh yeah, I was like looking at my Facebook feed a couple of years ago. You had memories. A couple of years ago, I posted my retirement plan entirely rests on one of my kids being successful, and that's true. Not the greatest retirement plan, but and I keep on telling my kids that remember this because when I'm old and I'm in a nursing home, you have to come and bring me like alcohol and Big Macs and other good foods because I changed their butts and fed them as babies. Well, yeah. Well, that's why I was saying it's past breakfast, past lunch. Yes. Mm, See, if I have breakfast, I'm hungry um the rest of the morning until lunch. If I don't eat breakfast, like right now, I'm not hungry. But once I start eating, my body's like, oh yeah, that's what's supposed to be there. Coffee can fill up that the little bit of hunger till at least 10, 11, 12. I don't usually get hungry till about then anyways. But when I was on vacation, I was up. And I was up at 6 and walking around and checking things. And then I got hungry because I was walking and stuff and exercising. All that wonderful stuff. I think so. Yeah, I don't see her in here. Just you and Tom Tom. I have a headache and stay in bed. Not up long yet. Got a sore. I got sore energy on my ribs. Spare. And I got spare energy on my ribs. I don't understand the spare energy on my ribs. I understand spare ribs. Ooh. Oh, you're not too fat, Tom Tom. Speaking of fat, there's a joke on the shirt. It says I've decided I'll never get down to my original weight. I'm okay with that. After all, 6 pounds 3 ounces is just not realistic. Because your original weight, your birth weight. Haha. That's my life goals. Nectar of the gods. I swear. That's one thing I did miss in. I didn't drink as much coffee on vacation. I did have coffee in the morning. Um, the first little bit, so the cappuccino maker wasn't working um, where we were the first few days. So if you wanted cappuccino, you had to go somewhere else. Um, and they had coffee, but they only had milk. They didn't have cream. So coffee with milk did not really appeal to me. Much like the coffee tasted fine, but needed cream. When they did cappuccino with the same coffee, and I don't know, from the machine, it worked out better. So I just didn't drink as much. I had like maybe 3 cups of coffee a day and never past breakfast time. Well, not never, once past breakfast. See, I'm not too heavy, just too small. Exactly. I'm what, height impaired. Because my weight would be perfectly fine on like an 8 foot tall person, right? Or 7 foot tall. I'm something challenged. What's the height challenge? What's another word for height? Also, you could just also be living on the wrong planet. Like, if you were on the moon, you would weigh much less. And so I think we're just on the wrong planet. We just have to be accepting of ourselves, of where we are. That's the thing. It's like you have to be okay with your own skin. You have to be okay with your own body. When you're not okay with your own body, like there's fine to improve it, but when you're not okay, like I know when I was younger I was not okay. I was always trying to do something different, and it was never working. Now that I'm okay with my own body and I am trying to be healthier, um, possibly losing a bit of weight, it's not because I'm not okay. I'm perfectly. If I don't, I'm perfectly fine with the way I am. I just want to do it for my own health benefits. Because as I get older, things will not work as well as they do now. Just big bone. Exactly. Well, and I am big bone. Like my wrist is actually, like you go by your wrist, it's actually quite big. And it's not, and there's not really fat here. It's all bone. Like, even my fingers are big. Like, yeah, and even when they're not, like, I wear a size like 9 or 10 fingers because it's bone. Like it's actually all bone. Like it's not. There's very little fat on them or skin or whatever. Well, yeah, I'll never be a supermodel. That's completely unrealistic. So I wish I was as fat as I thought I was when I was in high school. Because when I was in high school, I thought I was fat. I wasn't. I was actually normal proportion for my weight and height. Actually, some things were even smaller. I had a 24 and a half inch waist when I was in high school. I had the same size chest as I do now. And I wasn't dieting, but I had bigger hips and bigger thighs because I played soccer and volleyball. So I was very athletic. Um, I think my waist went to like, I think 28, 24 to 28. And I thought I was fat because a lot of my friends were skinny and also not as well endowed on the top. I would still have problems with putting on my shoes. My belly will not shrink. True, but there are devices you could help with putting on shoes. I have difficulty sometimes putting on, not shoes, of clipping my toenails just because it's just bending over and my leg just doesn't want to bend up. Well, exactly. Well, this is also the thing. He loves me. He loves me the way I am, and I love him the way he is. So, and we were never skinny minis. We were skinnier in our 20s, but not by any chance no skinny minis. No Twiggy. That's for sure. And he's always joking with me like, "No, you don't have to lose weight or whatever." So the thing is, he's lost weight so my cooking and healthier and doing more stuff from scratch. So this is the thing that we've noticed the past year of me doing a lot more things from scratch. We still eat out like once a week, maybe, um, and that, but just making healthier choices and just making stuff from scratch, not eating. a lot of frozen meals and lots of pizza and stuff like that. When we do eat out, we eat ethnic stuff, so it's like usually Chinese with rice, like it's whole type foods, not a whole bunch of processed stuff. Like sushi, there's rice, there's fish, there's seaweed. There's not a lot of stuff. He's lost weight because before we went on vacation, we had to put two belt holes on his belt. He got two new shorts that he decided to wear when we were. It hasn't been anything, um, on vacation we weighed him just because there was a scale in the room. You're supposed to weigh yourself and then weigh yourself with his luggage or weigh your luggage on it or whatever, and just shits and giggles and weighed him, and he's like, and he was much less than what he thought, um, what he thought he was. So he was pleasantly surprised because we don't have a scale at home, you know. So I know what my starting weight is now, which I'm not happy with, which is more than what I thought it was because apparently I haven't weighed myself in like 10 years. So, but I am hoping to be more, just eating more healthy. You know, eating a bit more low carb because I do find with low carb meals, I do lose weight and stuff like that, and they're satisfying. So it's not like I'm counting things. The Trim Healthy Mama plan does a bit of higher carb meals and a couple lower carb meals, and stuff. Um, it does it switches between the two, so you're always kind of like burning your fuel. The last time I did it, I was very successful at it, and I was only doing it maybe 70-80% of the time. I've always fell off the wagon at least once a day. There's one meal I just didn't do it, and I still lost some weight. So I know it's doable. It's more of like the biggest problem is getting back into drinking water and just being active, because I think that's part of the reason is that I'm active, but not purposely, you know. And it's not like I'm gonna have like extremely like diet looking meals because my family likes. Make a challenge. Well, that's what I'm doing. So with this goal, so the thing I'm doing right now is the 100-mile walk challenge. So from now until November 30th, I'm aiming to walk 100 miles. And also the 64-ounce water drinking challenge, which is 2 liters. And so, but according to the water app that I have for my body, I should be drinking 4 liters, which is completely unrealistic. I think I'd be spending all my day in the washroom. But drinking water, I've been doing pretty good at getting at least a liter to 2 liters a day, um, which is more than what I was doing before. So this is the thing: was purposely drinking water. When I'm out, when we go to a restaurant, I drink water 99% of the time. We don't drink pop unless it's included in the meal. You know, we'll just have water. And it's so much easier when somebody else brings you water and you just drink it. When we were on vacation, we drank lots of water. How much water? So 64 ounces is about 2 liters. So, like, for example, where's a water bottle? Let's see. How many mils is this one? That's probably about 600 mils. Wait, 1 cup, 2 cup. It's about 600 mils, that one. What's in this one? Is this water? Oh no, this is something that needed to be cleaned out. This was not water. This was, I think, juice at some point. That's not good. I didn't want to deal with that right now. Too, because it's expensive. Oh yeah, a pop is at least 250, if not more. unless it's in a can, and even then you're paying $1 or something. Like when we go for sushi places, they usually have fountain pop, and that might be included. But everywhere else we go to a restaurant, it's not much. Oh, for example, let's see, is this a gallon? So this mason jar is about 24 ounces, which is, so that's about a liter. Because there's 16 ounces here. So that's 16 ounces. So I'm guessing that's another, I mean not 24, 16, 20 ounces. So like I'm just going by the bars here. Well, that's why you look at your water bottle and you go and see how much is in there and you tap it on the water app. I just double it or whatever. If I'm drinking from a glass, I'm like, oh, that looks like 2 cups. You know, that's 500 mils. But drinking water really does help a lot. Hey Google, how many ounces is 64 ounces in milliliters?
64 US fluid ounces equal 1,892.706 milliliters.
So that's just under 2 liters. So a big bottle of pop, that's about how much water you're supposed to drink. Hey, Iron Fire Horse, how's it going? Yeah, well, it's basically like 8 cups of water a day is roughly 2 liters, like a regular drinking cup. That's what you're supposed to drink a day. It helps. Well, the extra water helps you either lose weight or helps also your organs because your body is 90% water or 80% water. It's going. I'm on my third cup of coffee. Second cup. Second or third cup of coffee. My kids managed to make it to school. And oh, I made them sushi for lunch. Like one, I made pineapple sushi because she doesn't eat fish, and the other one California rolls. So just like the fake crab meat, the right and the nori. Um, my husband has a doctor's appointment this afternoon. I'm ophthalmologist for testing and all that stuff. If my back pain better. Well, exactly. So this is the thing. It's like I'm trying to just be healthier. Um, as I was saying earlier, like I'm doing this 100-mile walk challenge, and then also trying to drink more water. So the 64-ounce fluid ounce challenge, which is about 2 liters. I'm just trying to increase me drinking actual water. Because usually I just drink. I tend to like looking back at things and the difference from being on vacation here. Like on vacation, I was drinking lots of water because we'd have alcoholic drinks too, but we drink lots of water at mealtime. We had like 3 or 4 glasses of water each meal. Um, because you didn't necessarily want pop or that, and then you had a couple of drinks or whatever, but nothing major. But we drank lots of water, and um, just being back home, I'm back in my old ways of just drinking coffee, and we'd have a pop maybe for supper. But the rest of the day, I might drink some water, but not a lot. Like I wouldn't drink pop during the day either. We do make iced tea, which we don't put sugar in. So I guess that would probably count as water. I don't know. I'd have to see if tea counts as water. Because all we do is brew tea and we put lemon in it. Yeah, well, I need the coffee. So honestly, my brain needs the caffeine because days that I wasn't drinking lots of coffee, even on vacation, I wasn't drinking as much coffee as I was here, but I wasn't really doing a lot of major thinking either. Like I was on vacation, I didn't have to figure stuff out. Figure out school stuff and all that crap. Being home without drinking coffee, like there was one day I only had like a cup or two of coffee. By the end of the day, I needed coffee. I was falling asleep at like 5 o'clock. Like I was sitting there listening to my husband talking about something, and I'm like, I was falling asleep. Exactly. Coffee makes me not be a grumpy person. And not the more that I drink, but it's more of like I have to drink in the morning and I drink a cup in the afternoon. Now, when I was on vacation, I didn't drink a coffee in the afternoon. Um, but I didn't need to because I didn't need to have a lot of major brain functions going on. It's like major decision I had to make was where are we going for supper and what am I going to wear. Those things don't require many brain cells. Yes, I'm doing the world a favor. I'm doing my family a favor. When I run out of coffee or I haven't had a coffee, my family definitely knows that if I've say slept in, like God forbid I've slept in, and or I'm not feeling well, like sometimes when you're sick and you just really don't want to drink coffee because your throat's all thick. I am a bitch. I could be. I I I'm really testy. I get everything gets on my nerves, and I get on everybody else's nerves. But yeah, coffee keeps everybody else safe. Um, and I've noticed that when I don't have coffee, my brain just kind of misfires. Like there's something in the coffee. It doesn't have the same effect with really pop either. Like pop, the caffeine, I think there's just something with the way that coffee is. It just makes my brain fire better. Like it's not like I need to drink more to make it fire better. I just have to have a certain level of coffee in me and then replenish it around 2, 3 o'clock because then I get tired. I start yawning just because my brain's like, oh, I'm so gonna be that person when I'm old, like having an afternoon nap when I have nothing better to do. Having a siesta. But then after a nap, I feel sometimes more tired than I did before my nap. So, I can drink pop, but I can't drink lots of it. Um, but I do find if I drink a lot of pop, like sometimes when we're on vacation, we would get pop. Like we're like, okay, if we're gonna spend $2 for water or $2 for pop, we'd buy the pop, right? Well, after a while, you just get the pop, and you're just like your stomach just goes, ugh. Can't nap in the day. It makes me feel exactly. I can sometimes, but usually not. If I do nap in the day, I know it's going to be a kind of wasted day, anyways. Because if I nap in the day, I'm going to feel not energized afterwards. I'm going to feel like lazy. Like lazy weekend feel. So if I do nap, it's going to be like, yeah, we're not going out after me napping. It's just going to be an at-home binge watch Netflix type of day. It's not going to be an adventurous day. Same with if I sleep in on the weekends. Sometimes, which I don't really do. Just because I can't. Like my body just doesn't want to sleep in past 9. God forbid past 7:30. But it just doesn't want to. But if I do manage to sleep in and get too much sleep, because I'm used to about 6 hours of sleep, um, my body's like, what am I supposed to do with this extra sleep? I'm so sluggish. I have like this excess amount of sleep. My body still sleeps. That it's like it's hard to get moving. Well, my family, on the other hand, would love to sleep till 10 o'clock every day. I quit sugar in my coffee. I used to do double double or triple triple depending on the size of the coffee. I quit sugar in my coffee in 2012 when I started doing Trim Healthy Mama plan before, and I just have cream. Now, I have noticed a huge significant, like that was an easy way to actually lose weight, was getting rid of the sugar in coffee. Like I lost weight doing that. Now, when I do go get a fancy coffee, like if I get a frappuccino or something like that at like Starbucks or whatever, it feels like dessert. Like it feels like a whole meal. Like I'm like, oh, this is sweet. Even if I get a sugar-free ones, um, they still are sweet. Like anything, now that I don't have sugar in my coffee, any sweets that are like made normally feel sweeter than sweet. Okay, I'm back. Hopefully this works. Hopefully everybody pops back. Hey, Amanda! Yay! Yes, I'm back. Oh, my allergy's still going crazy. I ruined my phone. Hopefully that helps. Oh, yeah. So where were we? Oh, my allergies are going crazy. Oh, ouch. Talking about coffee. Aren't we always? Oh, they are. They were quite spicy too. I had got them. No, I only bought the one. There was only one that was 75% off. I'm trying to put this. Trying to tilt that more, but it's not wanting to tilt anymore. No, they only had the one 75% off. So, and that was like for $1. That's great. For the original price of $4, I know people who would pay that. I'm not usually one of those people. Like it would have to be a much bigger bag for that. But it was good. And like I don't know why it was 75% off. Maybe it was not a big seller. Or because normally they put things at either 25 or 50% off. exactly. But I know people who do. So I know a lot of moms. They'll go to the health food store or whatever, and they'll get fancy, healthy bags of trail mix or nuts or seeds or whatever for that price. But they also go for like $16 salads, which I can't justify. If I'm gonna pay $16, I want like a burger and fries and onion rings or whatever. I'm not gonna pay that for a meal of a salad. I, exactly. That's why I was like in my review. I'm like, it's good. It's worth the dollars of it. Might be worth $4 for people who are willing to spend that. But I'm just not usually one of those persons. Now, if money was not an object, then sure. You know, it's kind of like I like going to farmers markets, and I think they are very good, and supporting farmers. But sometimes I can't go to farmers markets and support the farmers because it's just not in my budget. Are they charging too much for eggs or too much for meat or too much for veggies? Sometimes it's reasonable and you're getting better quality. So you have to kind of make that decision. And the way that I am, I kind of go in between the two things. I try and you know buy I when I can organic or grass fed or whatever if I can get it on sale for a decent price. Even if it's a little bit more than what I normally pay, I might still buy it. Like sometimes I will buy like organic strawberries versus regular strawberries because they might be like 20 or 30 cents more. I'll buy that. Just but on other times when my budget's tighter or it's not so much of a it's a want versus a need, which most things are because there's very few things that I need, but most things are wants. I can't justify it. It's kind of like but I can justify it for my kids. So I can justify getting my kids their snack fruit pouches when they're on sale for $2, right? When they're more than that, I'm not paying it. Exactly, double the price for double the price for organic. Now, same with eggs. If I knew a person who had a farm and was selling eggs, um, eggs in our stores are for a dozen large eggs regular is like $2, 2.29, 2.30 around that. Now, organic eggs are like double that amount. Like for example, I got a big thing of eggs, just one flat of eggs. So 30 eggs, I think, two and a half dozen, 30 eggs. At Costco, it was $6. That same flat of organic, grain fed, grass fed chicken eggs or whatever it was. Like it was there was like three things in there. It was 12. I'm sorry, I'm not paying $12 for 30 eggs. Hey, Iron Fire Horse. Welcome back. Yeah, so I can't justify that. Now, if I was rich, sure, I would have no problem buying the best quality, whatever, and paying that. I'm not rich. Um, if I can get something on sale that's organic versus the regular price, great. If it's a few cents more for organic, depending on the things I might get, or if it's something that we actually enjoy as a family, I might justify the extra expense. But I just can't. I know, like, I go to the farmers markets, not often, but I'll go and I'll get some stuff, things that we want. I do like getting the meat from one. There's a local vendor at one of the farmers markets. He has very eclectic meat. Like he'll have elk and he'll have moose and he'll have rabbit and stuff like that, which is not stuff that you can get readily in the grocery store. Um, and it's something different. So I don't mind paying a little bit extra for something unique and different. But for just chicken, so like the way that we have our chicken here compared to the States is all of our chicken are antibiotic free anyways. You don't use steroids or nothing. the feed that they have to feed the chicken feed versus the organic one, there's not a lot of difference of feed because I this from other um, farmers in Canada. High food forest permaculture. So that and the way that our chickens are harvested versus the states. Like I have friends who are Muslim and they can eat halal meat or halal chicken, and if but they can also eat the way that our chicken is harvested here. But the way it's harvested in the states, I don't know. I don't pay attention to how things are harvested, but it's different. The way that they do it here, the chicken can is also good for those who are, I think, Jewish as well. The way that they drain them and stuff like that, other than the whole prayers on the meat. So if they're not as strict and they're just looking at the type of meat, um, that is why I have no problem paying a bit more for our eggs, our dairy, and our chicken compared to going to the States and getting them because our milk is antibiotic free as well. Oh, what have you been canning? I made some corn relish and I have tomatoes and peppers that I'm going to make spaghetti sauce or salsa. I think more salsa. Maybe spaghetti sauce. Tired and sad. How many? 5 days. Are you still gone? You haven't found him yet? Well, maybe, depending on where you live, maybe one of your neighbors has picked it up and is feeding it. Yeah, all I can think of now is the cat came back the very next day, and the cat came back. Thought I was a goner, and the cat came back. I did this morning. I had a very vivid dream. It was just sitting there pretty. Well, maybe he was, and then he walked off. You know, some I don't always necessarily believe in dreams, but I do feel that sometimes dreams are a way to prepare you for stuff, or like for example, I tend to dream a lot of times of what I'm going to do the next day, and it helps me mentally get prepared for the next day, and then it's not so much a stressful thing. Mhm. Or it might be a premonition that he might be back later on today or tomorrow. Or one of you, have you checked with your neighbors? And cats are different than dogs. Cats, we have a cat around here that has a home, and there's about four neighbors on the other street that tend to feed this cat. This cat seems to have four homes. It has one home it goes to bed in, but it goes and visits these other houses and gets treats from them and gets pets and then comes back, maybe. So, as long as you don't see any, carcasses or anything like that, I would still think that the cat is doing well because cats, even though it's blind, it has other senses and it relies on those other senses than its sight. Like I swear, our cat is sometimes losing its sight because sometimes when I put treats down, it doesn't quite see it until it's like, okay, it's right here. It's like, oh yeah, I should smell for it. Then he will come home. I dream of the future that happens. So prayer for you and your cat. My cat is almost 20 years old. His name is Moggy. Yeah, my cat. Okay, so Princess is 14, 15 years old. 15 years old. And Sushi is like 9. But my other two cats that we had lived till 19 and 20. What's your cat's name, Irene? King Alexander the Great Mogre. That's a very long name. What do you call him? Do you say Mr. Alex? Okay, because I'm like, hello, come here, King Alexander the Great Mogre. I'm like, that's a very long name. We tend to like just like one word names. Well, and then our last name further, because I have to have a last name. The thing is that he has a Laramie Chloe he misses. And he's even worse, he's blind and can't hunt. True. Well, he could hunt. Um, just not as effectively. And if he's been well taken care of, or if he's a fat cat, like my cats tend to be, a few days of not eating food as much as they do is not going to kill them. He'd probably be able to find mice because the cats go by scent more than sight on things. Heck, my cat, she is declawed princess, and she's caught mice and killed them. So, I don't think she needs, Now, if it has no teeth and no claws, then we might have some issues. He's not fat. But still, he should be fine for a while. And I'm sure he's found. Cats are very resourceful, unlike dogs. Dogs are like stupid. Yeah, sometimes they'll just like sit there and obey. Cats are hunting type creatures. They it's in their blood to search for food. Plus, if there's also garbage cans. You're with friends. That's awesome. Be amazed at how blind cat. Yeah, I mean, there's garbage cans. They can get into garbage and eat the people food. Maybe not the healthiest or that, but I do hope that he shows up soon for you. Cleveland cleans him. His development delayed. Yeah. Uh, does Chloe go out? Because maybe Chloe could find him if she's an outdoor cat too. It tells me someone has taken him in, and it's been cold and raining, and I'm hoping when it gets warm. Well, this is what I'm saying. I think he's fine. He's probably been taken in by somebody feeding him. Because if he's social, he'll go and find a person and meow at them, and they'll feed them something. Does he have a collar? or a chip. Like, both my cats have a microchip so that if they got lost, they could be scanned and be found. Yes, but Chloe speaks cat, and Chloe might be able to meow. Hey, Mr. Alex, get your ass back home. That'd be a very long meow. Meow. I had a blind cat for 4 years, and I had the best time of my life. Man gave him to me when he was my best friend. When I was very happy. Hmm. Well, as I said, I think my cat Princess might be losing some of her sight because she sometimes doesn't always see treats when they're brought down in front of her, but she'll smell them out. But she catches mice, so like I don't think it's an issue. No chip, no color. It's a little bit harder. Put posters around your neighborhood. Like cats can wander about a kilometer to like half a mile from your home. If you print out some posters of missing cat with your phone number around your neighborhood, also letting your neighbors closest to you know you're looking for your cat, they'll keep an eye out too. So the more people that are keeping an eye out, going in and out of the house for 3 days. She's stopped now. Yeah, well, if it's been cold out and wet, they probably don't want to let the cat out. Exactly. Because, for example, when my cat got out, Princess got out when we first moved here, we were here for like a month or so. Got out, she she ran out the door. My cats are indoor cats, no claws, and she was gone for like 3 days, 3 or 4. No, she was gone a week that time. She was at. Oh, wait, she almost made it home. She made it to the next door neighbors, and was there for a couple of days when he's like, "Are you missing a cat?" Because I kept on going out and calling and putting cat food out on the step. And I'm like, yes. And goes, oh, well, she's made home, and my cat, Snowball, he had a big white cat, is not too impressed that your cat is here. I'm like, okay, so I grabbed my cat and brought her home. So she almost made it home. She just went to the wrong door. So, and they've never been let out again. Was there? I mean, I would help. I feel sad that you are missing your friend. Yes. As I said, if you could print off pictures and put them around your neighborhood with your information. 50 cats, 50 chickens. You, you have cat on the brain there, Iron Fire. Yeah, 50 cats would be hard to manage. My hubby always jokes around that if I didn't have him and the kids, I would have probably about 50 cats. I'd be the crazy cat lady for sure. Because I'm limited to two with hubby. I've been around 100 cats in a refuge once and had the time. Hee. I love the Dominican Republic. It was awesome. It was very relaxing. The food was good. It wasn't spicy or anything like that. But the food was good. We got tired of the buffet fairly quickly because it was the same thing every time, with small things changing. Um, and we are definitely a family that likes change. Like my family doesn't like leftovers the next day unless it's repurposed to something else. So having the same kind of options, they weren't as fond of as much. Like there wasn't much different from lunch to supper. Yes, I would be the crazy cat lady if somehow I'm ever by myself. My house is filled with cats. Roatan Honduras food was great. Ah, yes. We we went to Roatan once on the cruise. It was a stopover. We didn't do things. Dominican Republic was very nice. People were great. Very friendly, very helpful. Um, the food was good. We went, and one time we took a taxi, and we paid for a taxi to take us into town, and we went to a restaurant which was very hard to order because everything was in Spanish and nobody spoke English or much English. So I was trying to use the Translate app and to figure out what was on the menu to try and find something that was not fish for Rowan because she doesn't eat fish. So polo is chicken, but figuring out what else went with it was interesting. Cats that live in the food forest. I never see a mouse. Very cool. Howie. Stayed in Puerto Plata. Yeah, the restaurant was outside. Um, I will soon be having different videos once I get them edited and putting them up, and just kind of review of what we really did enjoy it. Um, the most negative of the review was just that the buffet didn't quite change as much as we wanted, but there were sit down restaurants for supper, so we could always go to a different restaurant each night. The best thing about it was that we didn't have to make reservations. You just showed up, just like a regular restaurant. Sometimes you had to wait. Sometimes you didn't. We never had to wait, even though they told us one time, a few times we had to wait. We never quite waited more than 10 minutes. So there was lots of different options. The other thing I would say would be more negative was just trying to think. There's Our room didn't have really hot water in the shower. My daughter's room, their room had hot water, so more hot water. Ours was kind of like warm. So that was about the extent of the negative stuff. Not a lot. Everything was good. Everything was the food was like everything tasted good. There was just lack of spiciness or there was some seasoning, but not spiced. So the Asian restaurant that they have there was good, but you have to remember it's Dominican's version of Asian. So it was like kind of Japanese slash Thai. So they had like their pad Thai was good, but it did not taste like pad Thai. It was the only thing that was really spicy there. And they made decent sushi. Like the sushi was kind of at least like grocery store sushi, not like fancy Japanese restaurant sushi. And their dessert, they had a tempura ice cream, which was amazing. Their desserts were good. Fruit was amazing. The freshest fruit you can find. Um, the grilled meats, they had grilled chicken, pork, fish. Their grouper was wonderful. However, it was served, it was always good. And then at the buffet, they had a different roast each night. So one was like roast lamb, roast beef, roast chicken, roast salmon. So in the upper top right, there spoke some English. Menus were, well, we went to Kilometer Zero, which was a restaurant in Puerto Plata. Australia had lots of good restaurants similar to the States, and I would assume Canada. Yeah, well, Canada and the States I would consider North American food. So you'd have typical burgers, pastas, meat and rice, or meat and pasta dishes. And I'm assuming that Australia would be similar. So sushi was raw fish. I had it when I was a kid. Okay, so sushi is the type of how it's shown. Sashimi is raw fish and just raw fish. Sushi is the style. So there's niri, and depending on how it's rolled. Sushi is just the wrapping with rice with either raw or cooked fish. So if you had salmon sushi, it's raw. But then if you have California rolls, it's the fake crab meat, which is cooked. And if you had shrimp sushi, it's usually a cooked shrimp that's in there. Glad you're back. Yes, well, we had, I like raw sushi too. Like the salmon ones or the tuna. Those two are ones that they tend to be raw. And we like the spicy, center spicy tuna. But they didn't have that there. They only had, like, they had California rolls. They had Philadelphia roll, which is California roll with cream cheese. They had fruit sushi, which was pineapple and cantaloupe in a sushi roll. I made Rowan some pineapple sushi today for school. And they had salmon sushi, which was the raw salmon. I made Abby California rolls for lunch today. My fish cooked. Thanks. Yes, I we did enjoy our trip. We we go on vacation not every year. Sometimes, like, well, we always go somewhere every year, but sometimes it's a far away where it's just more expensive, and sometimes it's closer, like Toronto or Montreal. Um, it depends on the year of how much we save up for vacation. Depends on where we go, because we do like doing that with the family. Because, like, Rowan's Rowan's gonna be graduating this year, so next year she might not want to come on vacation with us. She might want to, wherever she's going for college, university. She or we are trying to encourage her to stay home and to go to college or university around here, save her money. But um, she might have her own plans. So we tend to do these as experiences to kind of show the kids the world that is different than us, and gives them appreciation of how other people live, as well as the different foods and what's normal for them. Well, yeah, I've never been to a sushi place in Florida though. Lime and fresh salmon and then eat raw. Well, that's ceviche. The lime cooks. Yeah, that's ceviche. We Abby and I love ceviche. We actually had some in Dominican in the Castaways restaurant, which it was a seafood slash Caribbean style. They had salmon ceviche. No, they had shrimp ceviche and they had fish ceviche. Well, that's what we kind of figure. We don't spend, as the years have been going on, as the kids have gotten older, we try not to spend as much on Christmas and stuff. Like, we do give them the technology, and that's about the only thing that they tend to get for Christmas of things that they need to upgrade because we do live in that society, right? But we don't spend as much as what we did when they were smaller with a whole bunch of toys and stuff like that. We like giving a whole bunch of little things, but it's like stocking stuffer stuff, as well as like for example, my kids' big present last year, they each got Google Home. Yes, that's like $100. So See, this a lot of stuff came from like the dollar store or handmade, um, or were like funds for future events. So instead of having them having them spend the money right now. Yesterday, awesome, good job, 50 chickens. Sorry if it's buffering. Alright, it's what I can do. It's good now. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So just because you don't have money, you can give experiences or give homemade gifts. I had a food bank for over, and now how people went, and it seems about how bad the poor people were. Yes, but well, that's the thing. You have to. It depends on the situation, and depends on the organization. Like for example, I've got our food cupboard, and we support people, and we try and encourage people to use the food cupboard. There's no bad talking of people using the organization for whether they have to use it once a month for food or use just their Christmas hamper program and stuff. People sometimes need a helping hand, and and sometimes you have to break the pride that you have to ask for help, and it might just got out altogether. And it doesn't necessarily like it's up to you to get out of the Christian thing altogether. If it doesn't have to be about the Christian thing, like you could have a secular Christmas, or have a you could have a winter festival, or winter called solstice or whatever. To Irene and issues. I pray that the cat comes back, Mr. Alex. Um, but getting a bit of help now and then to help you stretch a bit further is not anything to be ashamed of, because our society does not give you enough to make a living on. It's afraid it's a principle. True, and it's there for those who might sometimes be able to only take some things, but not all the things that they're allowed to take. And they're like, no, I'm leaving it there for somebody who needs it more than me. I'm like, well, that's fair too, but also taking stuff that like pasta or like sauce that lasts a long time. If you don't quite need it so urgently this month, but if you take it this month, you might not need to access us next month or the month later. It might help you stretch things a bit further. Even though we give about 5 days worth of food, but some things last much farther, like pasta and rice and all that stuff. It's more than 5 days worth. You know? Like a 10-pound bag of potatoes. Whether you're one person or four people, if you have one vegetable to pick up, like a fresh vegetable, if you choose the 10 pounds of potatoes, it's going to last you a good while, at least a couple weeks. Food bank once a year and a half ago. appointment. I got there and they said I didn't make one. They also told me I made too much money. Okay, see, our food bank does not um, require you to give money to show your income. Um, you, if you make an appointment and you live in the area, you make an appointment. We assume that you need to use us, and we don't need to verify. Like it doesn't matter if you made too much money. It all what number of your expenses. If you make $2,000 and your rent is $1,700, you have $300 to live off of for for everything. You can't. You know, I told her I had worked at one for 6 years. I was appalled at her just getting payment. I hope that she was reborn as a hungry ghost and starved for 100,000 years. Wow, that's a very unique um, way of telling somebody off. No, like ours is not based on income. We assume if you need it and you have to sign up, you have to give like your information and stuff like that, and that you make an appointment to come. It's not like, yay, I'm going to the food bank. It's usually a very solemn experience on the person's part that they're going, because it's a pride thing. It's a whole, I've needed to ask for help. But the volunteers on the other end, they are chosen and they are allowed to volunteer because they are more upbeat or positive and not judging you, and are there to help you to succeed, to help you. Yes, well, on ODSP, not like, so I'm on both ends. I'm on the phone end, so I see, like, we ask a question of, like, but we don't ask for numbers. Do you work full time, part time, ODSP, Ontario Works, or whatever? And you just say what you're on. A lot of, like, half of our clients are on Ontario Works or on ODSP. The rest of the half clients, they're working full time or working part time. You know, they have jobs, but they still need help because sometimes those bills come in and you need to pay those bills. And then what you have left is for food. Yeah, and you, well, then I don't know about in your area, but there's usually more than one food bank or that you can access. Um, and I honestly think that people who are on ODSP or on Ontario Works should access their local food bank, because then the little bit of money that they have above paying rent and bills, they could use to help benefit them, like to help improve their circumstances a bit by getting better quality ingredients, better health. Because half the time, like, you can improve your health by having better food. If you use your little bit of money to buy the cheapest food available to just keep you alive, is not going to be great. But if you can get the help from the food bank that can give you whatever food that they have, and you can supplement that amount with better ingredients, then it would help you. When the Liberal government finally allowed parents to keep the child tax from the federal government. I quit when the Liberal government finally allowed parents to keep the child tax benefit from the parent. OW. Oh, as because of the new things of having it as income. I don't know. Was it before? Did they take it away? The Ottawa area is very liberal. People don't down. You. Yes, no. Yes, we are very liberal down here, but they do suffer because rent is high. There's very little subsidized rent, so a lot of times people are taking places that are as much as their ODSP for rent, and they're usually sharing with a person or something as a roommate because they can't afford, and they're on a waiting list for 5 to 10 years for subsidized income, for subsidized rent place. But in all the other communities I lived, too small, had one food bank. True, like in our area we have one for Canada, but you can access others depending on the different areas, and depending on different. So there's some for the areas, and there's some for the religions. For example, there's a Muslim food bank in Ottawa that you have to travel further away, where it has everything that is halal and good that they eat. But they don't get much. They get like a box or a bag or whatever. Um, and some are run by churches. So there's some that are even just for churches. You show up, you can get stuff. I'm just waiting for drug to claw back the tax benefits. Yeah, yeah. I'm not looking forward to the next 3 years or whatever. For all those that voted him in, has really hurt. Like, I mean, the Liberals were not perfect, but they were at least trying to put in programs to help the marginalized poor and stuff. That, yes, but the Conservatives are going to be cutting those programs, so the poor is going to get poorer, and the poor will not be able to afford to get healthy. I know Wasaga Beach was completely out of food the other day. There, someone told me. Wow. Well, people need to, like, that's the thing. People need to give back to their communities. People need to donate either money or food to the food banks. If you donate money, the food banks can purchase the things that they need that aren't being donated. Like our food bank uses it to purchase the fresh food. Like give, well, we get milk donated. But I don't know about eggs if we get them donated. But we get meat frozen donated, like marked down meat from Loblaws and Superstore, donated and given to us, and frozen bread, like the marked down bread. We have freezers for that, so people get allotment. Like even for one person, you get one fruit, one vegetable, one dairy, one protein. So the protein is either meat or eggs, and then you get, I think, 2 loaves of bread. 90s when the Harris government was in, took away the child tax benefit. Mm-hmm. See, I wouldn't know because I was a late teen and I didn't have kids at that time, so I didn't know about child tax until I had my own kids. But I know people who this is a hard thing is I know people who rely on their tax benefit to actually be part of the thing that pays for their rent and their income that they make from their job to pay for their bills. Parents on OW keep. Mm-hmm. Well, that's what it should be. I think it should be there for one and all. And this is the thing is that sometimes people didn't go out and vote, and because they don't believe that their vote matters or will count, especially if they live like where I live. It's a very conservative area, like because we're in the West End suburbs, so our community part if it is part country, side, so it's law farmers and stuff like that, and they always vote blue, no matter what. So my area is my my much smaller area is liberal, but the bigger area is conservative. So, um, I still go and vote. Here, they're really bad. They talk. I know, I know. That's awful. That's awful things. And the only ones that can that that talk like that are ones that have never suffered or never had to think where their next meal was coming back from, or when the next pay was, or oh no, I have no money till next payday, which could be 3, 4, 5 days away, and have $0 in their bank account, or God forbid, even less than that if they're in overdraft or whatever. The only time that they've been in debt was by buying brand new vehicles or brand new houses and getting in debt that way, versus going to the payday loan places and getting your payday early and getting charged a fee for that. Basically blowing your payday before your payday actually comes, because you have to put food on the table for your family. That's why the food banks are there. They should be supported more by the government and supported more by the people, and just being made more accessible. Or give everybody more of a living wage. Like this whole thing of having a living wage was not that much more than what ODSP was, but it was enough that these people who were in that pilot project were able to have hope, to get better, to look at improving their lifestyle, going back to school, getting some better education so they can get better jobs and not have to work minimum wage jobs. I have a lot of friends who work minimum wage jobs because that's what they have, because they don't have anything past high school. They don't have the skills, the specialized skills to get different work. And there's no other jobs out there that you either have to have really good skills and get better work, or none. There's not the middle. Yeah, there's that too. So much here. Well, we just increased our minimum wage, but not the living wage standards. But now I have friends who their jobs have now increased with minimum wage, so now they're getting paid more. But their partner was on ODSP. Well, now their partner's ODSP is getting deducted significantly, like losing like $500 because they're now making more. So there's no way of getting out of trying to get ahead. Well, vote. I'm not allowed to vote because I'm not Canadian. I don't have this. It's $630 to even apply to get your citizenship. If you were a landed immigrant, I think you could still vote as a landed immigrant. Well, actually, you don't, because my dad, he is Bahamian citizenship, but he got his CCPP because he put money into it. Collingwood, where I moved from. Yeah, and the bigger cities, yes, there's a bit more citizen stuff and opportunities, and that's where more like say subsidized housing is. But then the cost of things are way more expensive too. against opiates. Oh, that's two that died up here, but they were not relieved. They were shocked that um, their kids were doing. Yeah, no, me neither. That is not good parenting at all. I can't imagine. But actually, a great note to leave off of, but I just looked at the time and I have got to get ready. Um, Going this afternoon and gotta get ready to go catch the bus and for it. But it's nice chatting with you, and I do hope that you can what type of services and stuff that are in your area that they some are attached to church typically. I don't have to go to the churches, but other ones are through the community. Some of them are stuff too. Um, Not that you should tag into all of them, but kind of see what's out there and see what's available, so that when times are are tougher, that you can access these services. Or in Ontario, promise that will be broke. Exactly, and then and completely 180. I mean, that's what happened with Harris. Harris killed our economy and stuff that we needed the liberals. The problem with that people didn't like the liberals was that they were using money to put in services that we needed desperately somewhere. Vicious cycle. I do pray that things work out for the better eventually for everybody. I do pray for your cat to come home too, because cats are like your children, you know. Even though I think it's probably okay wherever taken in by somebody, but it still means you're sad. Check your local social security, social services place if you want to get your Canadian citizenship, that you could get it and be able to vote. I'm sure that they will have some pay for those fees. I believe Irene's been here since she was a kid, but from another country. I think Scotland, England, Germany. One of those, maybe. Scotland. See? Scotland was my first one. I'm like, Scotland, England, Germany. But if you live here, you should look into getting your citizenship so that you can have at least a voice to vote. They're upstanding, shining these parents whose children died. Yes, not everybody's perfect, and there are some cruel people out there, but not everybody is cruel either. I should get going. It's been wonderful chatting with everybody, and I don't know how long we've been on, a couple of hours at least. And I hope to see you. I gotta get cracking to Jen. Awesome chain. I'll probably be on maybe tomorrow, if not Thursday. Thursday I think will be afternoon. Yes, September 11th, the day that the world stopped for a moment and just like, whoa, what happened? I mean, I remember exactly. I had Rowan. She was just a baby. We were at my dad's, and I was just getting up. My dad made me a coffee, and it, the news broke out, and we saw the second tower get hit. I saw it live, everything. So yeah, she mentioned, so we're gonna do lunch tomorrow. I don't have data on my phone, so I don't know how we're gonna get, we're gonna find someplace with Wi-Fi and hook up. Yes, today is not a happy memory day in most things, so. So yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah, maybe we'll get my data working on my phone. I had to reset my phone, and it's not finding the data. It's finding the cellular service to use the phone number, like the call, but not the data. So I've only been able to access the Wi-Fi. Yeah. See you tomorrow or Thursday. Bye, everybody. Mm-hmm.